So Ben, Over the River and Through the Woods, why are you fond of the play?
You know, I first saw this play back in 1999 off Broadway, and I fell in love with it immediately. I love the humor, I love the characters, and I love what this story has to say.
What are the themes? What does it have to say?
Well, it's about family. It's about holding the family together in an ever-changing world. It's about the expectations that we have for each other as a family, some realistic, some not realistic. And it talks about how we all really need each other, and really how important family, faith, and of course food are to any good family.
What are the characters like in this play? Can you describe each of them in a sentence?
Sure. Well, there are two sets of grandparents, and Nikki's maternal grandparents, Frank and Ada, they're real homebodies. They're just kind of salt of the earth type of people. You know, again, it's about getting up, going to work, living a nice life. Now, his paternal grandparents, Emma and Nunzio, they're a little flashier. They like to have a good time. It's not beyond them to go to Atlantic City to play bingo. You know, they even went on a Mario Perillo tour of Italy. So they really like to get out and live. They like to have a good time.
How is this show going to appeal to the younger volunteers?
Well, there are wonderful characters for the older actors, but the younger characters are just as compelling. The character of Nicky is really pretty darn complex, and he's faced with this conundrum. He really wants to pursue his dream, but he does love these people, and how can he leave them? So there's that conflict within him. And one of the plot twists, without giving too much away, in the effort to keep Nicky from moving, the grandparents concoct this idea. They think if they can fix him up with the perfect girl, there's no way he can move cross country. So they set up this blind date, and Caitlin O'Hare shows up, and she too, even though she's in just a couple of scenes, she's a real, honest, multifaceted character, and I think any young actress would be really happy to play a part like that.
Do you have any advice for the volunteers for preparation on auditions?
Yeah, I think it's really important to make sure that you take the time to really read the script, and not just read it, but to kind of study it so that you have an idea of who these people are. I also think it's important to take some time and think about the time period that the play is set in. We're setting the play in 1985. And the world was really a very different place back then. Now, as you know, if you move across country, you can stay in touch via Skype or FaceTime or email or what have you. In 1985, none of those things existed. And in 1985, calling long distance was very expensive, and everyday people just didn't do it on a regular basis. So if you were separated from the people that you loved, you wrote letters. That's how you kept in touch.
Yeah.
And so it really was a very different world. And it's been interesting because in our design meetings, we've spent a lot of time talking about how different that time period was. So I would suggest that the volunteers really spend some time looking at that as well.
Now, once we get into production, how are you going to be working with the volunteers on characterization to craft really multifaceted characters on stage?
Well, fortunately, the characters are really written in that way. All of the characters in the play have wonderful opportunities to share some of their backstory, and so we're going to take the text and expand upon that. Say, okay, this is what's written. What's not written, and how does that really impact them individually and their interaction with each other?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
Well, auditions for Over the River and Through the Woods are going to be November 8th and 9th at 7 p.m. Civic Auditorium Green Room, and Over the River and Through the Woods is going to perform January 15th through the 30th in the Civic Auditorium.